costume?
Yeah, jump in there now. We're going to ask Richard to put on one of the many costumes that he brought with us. Our first interview was really kind of a exercise, exercising the formal demons, so to speak. So now we're going to express the angelic. Here's one of our mascots at the gallery.
One of the artists?
Yes, she is one of our primary artists. So we just had a new artist joined us. It's Dizzy Gizzy.
Hi girl. Hi.
Richard Springer is a person of many stories, and he is in many ways, by virtue of his paintings and by virtue of his life, a storyteller. Pictures may speak 1,000 words, but Richard will speak 1,000 words with them. I'm going to pull you forward, just a little bit forward again here. Okay. And U.S. Army, 1775.
That's when I joined.
Okay, Springer, tell us your story. What's the truth? What's the truth about you?
Yeah, I was a bad soldier.
Bad soldier.
I was a bad soldier. No, my stepfather.
I see you're not even buttoned up.
Yeah,
All right, well,
that's part of the problem. Was part of my problem was buttons, zippers,
regulations,
etc.
Now we know why he's an artist.
Yeah, no, one of the things I jumped from not going to Frank Lloyd Wright School in Taliesin because it was too regimented. So I decided I'd join the Army instead. Isn't that dumb? You talk about.
Did you catch that? No. Okay.
Talk about stupidity.
Well, you know what? I got a funny feeling Wright was more regimented than the U.S. military.
Well, I don't know that, but my stepfather had been a major in the Army, and I was, and he encouraged me that when one of the thoughts when I was younger, he thought that maybe I should go to a military school because I was undisciplined, as a
Which
child.
was typical back then, wasn't it? Yeah.
Well,
military school.
Yeah, the military school would have straightened me out, but somehow I dodged that bullet.
Yeah.
And but he encouraged me to somehow later on, after be more acceptable somehow as if
it was like a Catholic military school or.
Yeah, I think it was. I think it was. Marmion.
Oh, there you
go. Old Marmion.
There you go.
Yeah, but that didn't work. So, I did want to go to school. I didn't want to go to college, and this was during the Korean War, and I could go into the Army and get afterwards going. I mean, I didn't realize that I'd have to spend 8 years in the Army, but. We don't think when we're kids and young people, we don't think very far ahead. 8 years to me was a lifetime in the long run. But
it's still a lot of time, even now.
Oh yeah. Well, anyway, I did join.
Tell us the year.
It was 1953.
1953.
Korean War was a hotbed, and the thing was that they needed bodies.
Right.
That was extremely important. They needed cannon fodder.
Lots.
They needed as many bodies as they could get. And they really didn't care how they got them and where they came from.
Yeah, and you were stationed in Germany during the Korean War.
Well, yes, I was, but even getting into the Army was kind of a story. Because,
right.
You see, I'm blind. Have you ever been an artist that's blind? But I am. In fact, that helped me because when I take off my glasses, everything is beautiful. It's all a big fuzz.
Like a ballerina with no feet, but if you've got shoes, you got it made.
You got it made.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, how I got to Germany was an interesting thing. How I got into the Army was a situation of where, because they needed bodies, when it came time to check my eyes on the original, they looked at me and they just said, the captain that was there, he said, take a look at the lowest. He said, take off your glasses. So I take off my glasses. He says, take a look at the smallest or the lowest line that you can read, and that chart. And I looked and I said, what chart? And he looked at me and he said, put your glasses on. put my glasses back on, and he said, all right, can you see the chart? And I said, yes, I can. Good, pass. And so I found myself in the Army. Well, the Korean War, fortunately for me, the Korean War ended about the time when I had finished basic training and was getting ready for some other stupid stuff. So they didn't know what to do with me exactly, and so I received overseas orders, but instead of going to Korea, my orders were to go to Germany.
Germany.
And so as I arrived in Germany, they had to go through another medical. And this time the captain that did the physical checkup, the doctor, he went through everything, gave me all these different tests, and then he went and looked at my record. Well, on my record it has what is called the MOS, which is your occupation, military occupation designation or something like that.
Right.
And it said, and he looked at it and he says, wait a minute, this says you were trained for airborne infantry. He says, you're blind, you've got flat feet, and you've got curvature of the spine. You shouldn't even be in the Army, let alone airborne infantry. And I just asked him, can I go home? And he said, no, but we'll find something else. He said, right away, what did you do in civilian life? So I had worked as an illustrator for Wilson Sporting Goods for 1 week after high school. So he says, okay, you're an illustrator. Well, he says, draftsman. So I'm changing your MOS. So he changed my MOS and I became a draftsman or an illustrator in the Army. And so I'm walking down the hall afterwards carrying my load of papers, and the papers, there comes this master sergeant comes walking up, and the master sergeant stops me, soldier, stop. And so I stopped, and he says, the master sergeant says to me, he said, do you have a home? Do you see you're carrying papers? Do you have a home? Which means in the Army is
yes.
A place for you to stay in.
Yeah.
And I said, no, Sarge, I'm just kind of floating around. And he said, well, let me see your papers. So he looked at my papers there, and he says, oh, I see you're an illustrator or a draftsman. And I said, right. And he says, I'm looking for one. So I said, great, He says, okay, you're coming with me. So I went with him and ended up as 7th Army headquarters. So I'm in the big thing, right up at the top there. They put me into Army Intelligence.
Were you Wiesbaden or?
No, at Stuttgart-Feigen.
Stuttgart.
Mm-hmm. In Field Marshal Rommel's old headquarters.
Field Marshal Rommel's.
Yes, and so here we are in this palace. Here I'm going from the U.S. and where I was, the old barracks, wooden barracks, and some of the things. And here I'm in the palaces that Hitler created for his Rommel,
Really?
his prince.
And they created them? They didn't just appropriate them from the Polish gentry or?
No, they created
them.
This was beautiful. I mean,
Wow.
the whole thing was a great place. So I'm there in Army headquarters.
Any photos of it at all?
Well, I had some pictures, some goofy pictures,
Okay.
Because, as soon as you get into Army Intelligence, you're supposed to be a spy, Well, we were just taking pictures.
Just taking pictures. Cut.
Just taking pictures.
You had 9